it will resolve itself. If only I lets it be. Without thinking, I has a better outcome. That's how I see my own ego. Ego looking at itself in the mirror. There is no hope. There is no aspects of what I do, what I think will attain the absolute need that I have through thinking. You see? One mentioned in the video prior to this about the inacceptability. I don't know if I think it was clearly identified, but the inacceptability of accepting another human being that doesn't have the experience, the certificates, with categorizing our own species into saying this one has no right to have an opinion, to have a say in the here and now, because this one doesn't have, say, letters after its name. This one is not really thinking along the same lines as what this project is about. Some of the greatest theories came from an awakening, a moment from a mind that was not participating in the line of thought that this awakening produced itself, revealed itself as. So the mistake we make as human beings is not to say we should be interfering. We should not be interfering in other people's lives, regardless of what you are, a politician, a lawyer, a teacher, a minister. We should be observing, constantly observing, constantly in tune. And the possibility of seeing a great awakening or a theory, a phenomenal new theory, is within your sight, within your presence. You see, when a great mind is suddenly born, you see, this mind is not a great mind, but it experienced the greatness of its possibility of being a great mind through a broken down, dissected, inoperable mind from the prior stages to awakening. By observing the I, by truly connecting, truly staying attention on I, not the head, not the person, not the mind, but the I that reveals all, reveals the greatness of mind. So if you have two, you see, this is what they say in the satsang hall, when the guru meets the disciple, eye to eye, and both relinquish the possibility of resolving the issue which either may have. I is revealed. It is revealed. It is. See? So, the ego that sees certificates, letters after names, only this one can enter the discussion, because that one and that one and that one have no thoughts about, no clear, real, genuine that can contribute to what this group wants to get, you see. What a mistake, you see, what a mistake. But it's okay, because that's a human way. That's what we have created. See, if a story comes to mind, a story that was born from this mind. I've uploaded it one, maybe two, three times. It's the greatest story I think this eye has ever revealed to the witness of ego. My ego. Ego didn't reveal the story to itself. Being reveals the story to ego and say, look, what about this one? It's a long story, but I'm going to try a really short version if you have the time. If not, it's enough. Enough is enough, you know. This young girl whose parents died, and they lived in the countryside, very rural. Not a house, no civilization within 4 miles. Just a little old cottage with no modern day facilities. The parents died. The girl lived on her own. She became inverted, a recluse, didn't know about life, so she felt safe in her cottage. So she stayed in her cottage. She was not drawn into the world of, you know, social gatherings and all that stuff. So she was quite happy to be alone. Did her own vegetables, did her own, got her own water from the well. She had a little dog that she would walk the dog every day. She had chickens. She had some sort of a little goat. She produced all her own food. She made all her vegetables, and she lived in this rural. And she never saw anyone. She maybe saw the postman when they were delivering bills, council tax, all that stuff, you know. Anyway, one day she's walking the dog and she hears this bang, really loud bang that echoed through the countryside, and she's realised right away that it was coming from the road a mile down. So she ran with the dog and she found this car in a ditch, and this man was choking to death, you see, with his tie, and this car had obviously just run off the road and hit a colossal oak tree, and it was seen that the man was going to die, so she pulls the man back and she loosens the tie, and she did all the spontaneous natural stuff that no one had told her how to do it. And she takes off her coat and puts it over the man to keep him warm, and she finds a mobile phone and she works out, it says emergency, and she presses, and she gets the ambulance, and the ambulance come and the police come. But while they're coming, the lady has the insight to stay on the phone to the ambulance in case something goes wrong. And so the police come, and the man is taken in the ambulance, and he's critical, you know, but he's alive. So the what is it they take down? The statement taken down. Lady goes home. A couple of days later, a policeman arrives at her door, finds where she lives, and says, the man has survived. He wants you, you were very, it was incredibly good that you could do what you did and respond, otherwise he would have instantly died. He wants to see you at the hospital. His wife and him want to see you, and his child want to see you at the hospital. So she picks up, says to the police, no, it's okay, you know, I'm okay, you know, it's fine, if the family's alive, that's all that matters. No, he wants to pay his respects. I think it's only courtesy, madam. No, I don't know how to get that. I don't know. And the police says, well, you know, we'll take you. We'll take you now. She can't find any excuse, so she's no option but to go in. So she goes into the hospital, and this young child runs towards her and cries, "You saved my daddy." And she doesn't know what to do. Child, it's okay, it's okay, I know you saved my daddy. You gave me my daddy back. So, she goes in to speak to the couple, and they're very grateful, and everything's okay, and she is about to walk out when this nurse comes and says, "Oh my God, I heard about your miracle act. You responded so great." And it's just everyone would do this. No. I heard about what you did. You sat with the man. The lady on the other end of the phone was hearing you. You were singing to him. You were telling him it's going to be okay. The man heard all that. When he woke up, he says, "Who was the lady that was singing? Who was the lady that cared for me? Who was the lady that made me feel that I was going to live?" That's a great part of nursing. That's so instinctive. And of course, the physical aspects of what you did was incredible. Some nurses take months to learn how to respond to something like that without fear and retribution. So I think, "What do you do?" She says, "I don't do nothing. I just live on my own." No, I think you should become a nurse. I think you should go to training college and become a nurse, because the world would be of a great advantage. You see? And the nurse takes the lady into her office and says, "Look at my wall, what I've done." And on the wall there's certificates and photographs of this obviously very, very experienced nurse getting awards, getting more certificates and pictures with patients that she'd saved and everything. I come in here and I feel so worthy when I look at my wall. And the lady went, "Wow, that's incredible. You must have done some good in life." She says, "Oh, yeah, but you can too. Listen to me. Go home and think about it." So the lady goes home and she sees, she walks into her house and she sees her wall. Only a picture of her parents, a tiny picture of her parents, and one of her dog that she truly loves, stuck in the middle of the wall. Nothing else. And she says, maybe I'm doing a disservice. Maybe I should be doing something with my life. Maybe I should be, moving on. Maybe my parents would be glad. I don't know. I think I may consider this nursing and do something good with my life. So she picks up the phone and she makes arrangements, and she goes through the whole nursing situation. She gets a bus, walks 4 miles, gets the bus into town every day. Slowly she's beginning to get some sort of stability in her life, some sort of meaning in her life. And eventually she gets the certificate. She's passed. You're a qualified nurse. So she puts this certificate on the wall alongside her parents and her dog, and she's so proud. Wow, look at that. I'm a nurse. I'm really a nurse. So the nurse that encouraged her phones her up and says, "Look, I hear you passed. It's wonderful. You did it so easy. It was so great. You have the certificate to go forward." And she says, "What do I do?" She says, "Well, you're going to have to apply for jobs. I'll give you so much numbers and places to apply for jobs." So she applies. She begins to apply for jobs. And very soon the postman, who she very seldom sees, comes through the door and knocks at the door. "Here you go, madam. You have 2 or 3 letters today. I hope they're good for you." She says, "Oh, thank you, thank you." Would you like some tea? Ah, no, no, I may have a cup of tea. I'm really busy right now. Okay, so she opens the letters. It's 3 rejection letters for the jobs. Sorry, you live too rural. We need someone more dependable. We need someone more experienced. Oh. So she puts the letters aside and she continues to apply, and there'll be someone out there, you know. And this goes on for 3-4 months. The postman keeps coming every day. Another letter, another rejection. So many rejections. Yeah. And then she gets one. There's a job for you in this city that's 200 miles away, and she says, I can't move. How can I get to this? So all her circumstances lead to her not getting a job. All her inexperience leads to her not getting a job. All her, you know, you're too young, or you're too old. We're looking for this kind of work. We're not looking for that kind of work. You've passed your certificate in this kind of work. What about adult? What about mental health? What about this? Could you could maybe proceed and get another course, and so many letters. And one day she gets up 5 months after applying, and she puts all the rejection letters along her wall. All the rejection letters along her wall, and it fills the wall. And she says, wow, not the same wall as my nurse who primarily told me to go for this life. And she says, nah, it's not for me. God's will says, no, you're not going to be this nurse. You're not fit enough. You're not good enough. You're in the wrong. Whatever these letters say is the truth. The truth is, I am useless. So she rips all the letters down, and even her certificate of nursing, and leaves her parents and dog on the wall. And she says, right, back to life, dog, let's go. Life wasn't bad anyway, you know. It was an experience. It didn't come out the way everyone thought it would. But my parents always said, be strong, move on, look after yourself, and you'll be happy. She says, no, I'm happy. But she wasn't really happy, because all of this had made her feel insignificant, made her feel useless in the world of, you know, human. So she went walking for the dog, and she came back. And as she came back, she just came inside, and the postman, he knocked on the door, and he said, good morning. She says, oh, hello, how are you? No more letters, please. No, he says, not this time. He says, can I come in? I have time for a cup of tea. She says, yeah, okay, yeah, come in. He says, I have a box for you. A box? I don't order things. It's not for me. It must be the wrong house. No, your name, look. She says, oh, okay. So she makes the tea and some biscuits, and they sit down, and he says, are you going to open the box? She says, I don't know. You don't bring me anything good normally, Mr. Postman. She says, if it's not bills, it's rejection letters. He says, go open the box, you know. I won't look. So she says, no, you can look. She opens the box, and she picks up my coat. Oh, my coat. I wondered where that coat went. That was my coat I got from my mum. My God, I remember it now. I put it over that man in the accident. Oh, someone's delivered my coat back. I completely forgot about it. Oh, that's the best thing I've ever had. And she snuggles up to this coat. And he says, I'm finished work. He says, I always see you. I saw you for years walking your dog, and I've driven past and you've not seen me. He says, you like walking. Why not get your coat on and go for a walk? We can go together. And she says, oh, I don't know about that. Just a walk. She says, Okay. So the postman goes to the front door, locks up his van, and she comes out with his coat on and puts her collar up. And she's about to lock the door. She puts the key into the pocket and she goes, "Oh, oh, what's this?" And the postman says, "What is it?" And she opens a little piece of scrap paper on a note. He says, "What is it?" She says, "Can you read it for me?" He says, "Of course I can." "Dear lady, you saved my dad's life. You are the best nurse in the world. You gave me my dad back. He tells me stories at night and plays games with me. He tickles me and cuddles me and tells me how pretty I am. My mum and dad, they're so good together. You saved my family. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart." I put in the other pocket a little piece of chocolate I saved up. I heard you say to someone you had a favorite white chocolate. I hope you enjoy it. And I hope you continue to be that great nurse. The tears came from the lady's eyes and the postman too. She says, "Give me that." So she goes back into the door and she pins the note next to her parents. And she stands back and she says, "That's the best certificate. That's the certificate that I was waiting for." And she looks to the postman and says, "Come, we have a walk to go on. I want to share my chocolate with you. Every time I saw you in the morning, you gave me spirit, you gave me hope that something was about to change in my life. It wasn't the letter I was waiting for. It was someone that I could talk to." And the postman says, "Yeah. I always thought about you," he says. "I kept hoping and praying that the next letter would be the best letter. And my wish came true. From a little girl." So she locks the door and opens the chocolate and instantly holds the postman's hand. And they smile. You see? Certificate or no certificate, life is planned. Life can flow. Pick yourself up. Look into your being. Your parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, all looking down upon you as part of you. God and Christ, they forge on. They do everything in their power to reveal that life is sacred, life is flowing, life is moving. Life will always take care of itself with a little bit of trust, a little bit of faith, and a true acceptance that when it's not going your way, it's going to pick up. I have this story came in like picture form. I have a mind that can see the cottage, see the trees that surrounds it, see this young girl, see with her bravery, see the nurse and her ways, and see the man that was facing death, and see the little girl, and what one simple act changed the whole universal shift for that lady. So I envisage that the postman and her got married, and they lived their life in a content way, a simple way. But who knows? It's not my story. No stories belong to me. All stories are, sifted through this body, this mind. Sometimes they have good, sometimes they're humorous, sometimes they have spice, sometimes they are suggestive, sometimes they are true, and sometimes they're just a load of nonsense. That story may be a load of nonsense to you, but it kept me going. It kept me picking myself up and moving on. It kept me trusting and having faith and acceptance in the power of life, in the power of now, in the power of being. I can even taste the white chocolate. Namaste.